All right, friends, we're going to dive in. Beth, could you monitor the chat for me during this first part?
I would be happy to.
Thank you. Okay, are you seeing my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Wait, no, I don't want to go there yet.
Sharks and some
You
jackets.
can't see the shark.
You skipped ahead, I guess.
I know.
It was very cute.
I know. Okay, let's get going. So, welcome everyone to our sixth and final workshop in this
Ah,
year's Leadership Academy.
not
Though
final.
No,
Yes.
in this series on
Okay.
Empower, Embrace, Evolve, I thank you all for your patience. We've had to kind of move things around more this year than I'd like to do, just because we were really kind of fighting against um, SI headquarters being ready for us to kind of go to the next step with code of conduct. So we are finally ready for that. So we are going to do that final workshop still on implementing and enforcing the code of conduct. So don't have a date yet, but that will be coming in the near future. And that will actually be the final workshop for this year. But this is the last in this series. So again, I always like to review what we're talking about when we talk about empower, embrace, and evolve. So empower is giving someone the authority or power to do something. Embrace, to accept or support ideas willingly and enthusiastically. And evolve, to develop gradually, specifically moving from something simple to something more complex. And so we're covering this year because we want to make sure that we are a welcoming group of Seroptimists, that we're harnessing the power of our members working together instead of working against each other. And just like this group of animals, we're all unique human beings that bring something different to the table. I think I asked this the very first time we met, like which of these you identify with. And I've decided that I am the little bird-like creature in the red-orange raincoat with the hood. You're welcome to be whoever you want to be. I also like the purple puffer jacket
Yeah.
because I love purple. All right, ready for this one? I love this one too. So over the past several months, we've explored a few topics in this area. So we've talked about diversity. We've talked about bias, implicit bias, and microaggressions. We've talked about communicating in a way that is intentionally inclusive. And inclusivity has been a theme throughout all of this. So tonight we're going to talk about what comes next, how we take everything we've learned and move forward together. So we're like this pack of sharks walking in unison, going the same direction, in step with each other. And I'd like you, just as we get going, and we'll make this really quick, but just take like a minute or so and reflect on the journey together. If you've participated in all of these 6 sessions, or even if you haven't, that's okay. And I want you to think about, what is one idea or one specific thing that you've learned that's really stuck with you out of all the things that we've talked about. And I'll give you a minute to do that, and then let's see who wants to share. I'm going to come back to where I can see you for a minute. Anyone willing to share? Or you need more time to think about it?
I'll share.
Okay, Donna?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you. I know people have told you this before, but thank you for the opportunity to be able to kind of dissect what it is that, that we are going for, what we're working towards. But I think it's the fact that it's been organized in a way that has made sense, given the opportunity for all of us to share. And I have just learned so much, just little tidbits, um, every single time, little tidbits of things that I can take back to my club, even personally, and use, and actually even get a better picture of, wow, that's that's happening. Maybe I didn't recognize it before, but that's happening, and that's something that we need to talk about and take a look at and maybe think a little bit more. So those are the things that I've learned.
Great. Thanks, Donna. Anyone else? Kelly?
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna mute.
Oh,
There was one, I can't remember the name of it, but it was about membership inclusivity.
Mhm.
I can't remember the title of it. I was trying to find the title of it because I'm like, oh, don't ask me.
It's in one
Um,
of them.
but I really enjoyed that, like getting new members involved and in the inclusivity of that one. That helped.
Good. Thank you. Anyone else?
I was
Well,
going to
she
say
took
that too,
yeah,
about being inclusive with our new members and younger members as well, just to make sure we remember to include them always at our meetings and have, I don't know, get them to sign up for committees and just let them know what they're all about. And we are always saying, well, we were new at some point in time and we had no idea what we were doing, but it's fun and you get to meet other members on different levels. So yeah, inclusivity, that was
Perfect.
a good one.
Thanks, Liana. Anyone else before we move on? You'll get another opportunity to share, so don't worry. Okay, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Okay. Oops. Is that where I want to be? Okay, yeah, it is where I want to be. So I asked you that, and now, Kelly, I'm going to do a quick review of the different sessions that we talked about. So maybe we'll trigger which one you were thinking of. So we started a very kickoff back in September with understanding diversity. And the point of that was to try to just expand our perspective, to get us ready in the mindset for learning, to think broader than we traditionally have thought. And then the next session was on implicit bias and microaggressions. So that was designed to help us identify some hidden barriers, things that aren't right in front of us, maybe things we say, things we assume, without actually knowing what's true and what's not. The third session was called inclusive communication. So that was to help us learn to use the right words and actions and to be intentionally welcoming in the way that we speak and communicate with others. The fourth one was on cultural awareness and global perspectives. So that was intended to help us think even bigger, beyond our own clubs and our own region, but also within our clubs and region about those that come from different backgrounds and just understanding how different cultures approach different sorts of things. And then the last one before tonight was creating an inclusive club environment. So that might be what you're referring to, Kelly. And this was just to help us learn and kind of provide some tools to help us really focus on building belonging within our club so that no one feels left out. So I'm going to ask you the second part of the question. Like I asked you what hit home. What of these, I'll come back to you. What do you find in that list of things that we've covered as the most challenging? What's going to be the hardest for you to really work on and overcome?
Okay, I'll go again. The one that I was actually talking about was the second one,
Oh, okay.
the diversity one. And I don't know that that's hard to overcome, although it is, because sometimes maybe I say things unintentionally and I mean them a different way and they come out and I'm like, oh, that didn't sound right. So I do remember after that session, like I print out our agenda before the meeting and I'll take notes, like say this, do not say this. It made me really conscious of who's in the room and know your audience.
Good, thank you. Anyone else? Tammy?
I don't know if it's basically hard for me to remember, but I have a hard time when I'm focused on something. I have like blinders and I totally focus on that thing and I forget to look around and see what's around me. So it's not that I don't want to be inclusive, it's just I'm focused and I forget. So that part is hard for me. And so if somebody could help me broaden my perspective maybe and not be so focused, I think that would be helpful.
Okay. We'll try to talk about that a little bit later tonight. I think I don't know what I would say. I think maybe the cultural awareness, because we don't know what we don't know. And it can get tricky when you're trying to learn to understand and not offend somebody just by asking. Like explain, I don't know that I understand your background and culture, help me understand it. So like language around that becomes super important. And I think often I'm so afraid of saying the wrong thing because I don't want to offend someone that I don't say anything at all. And that's also not right. So to me, I find that one perhaps the most challenging because there's just a lot more unknown. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy to address, but it's relatively easy to look around a room and know who's speaking up and who's being really quiet. Finding the ways to draw that person out and help them feel included. I'm not saying that's easy, but the task is more obvious. Whereas when you're dealing with kind of these hidden, unknown
Yep. And you have
beliefs and
a valid point
differences in
there.
culture, it's just, yeah, I think that's what I find the most challenging.
No, and you have a definite valid point there because especially in this day and age with people's sexuality differences and religious differences and political differences, everything becomes a hot button if you're not careful. And so saying nothing is sometimes, I don't know, I don't think of it as a cowardly way out, but maybe it is for me because I'd rather not offend by saying nothing than offend by saying something. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyone else before we move on? Okay, let's go back. Let's see. Now my thing's not working. Okay. So this is just very simplified takeaway from all of it. So these are three things about inclusion. Inclusion is a continuous practice. Like practice, practice, practice. It's going to be hard to perfect it ever, but we're always going to be learning and doing better. Inclusion is not a one-time conversation. It's just you don't wake up today and say, "Oh, I'm going to be inclusive." I mean, it's things you do over time and your words and your actions and what becomes repeated behavior starts to stick. And then finally, it requires intention and action. For some people, this comes more natural than others. Some of us might have to think about it very intentionally in our thoughts. And for those of us like that, including myself, just know that it does require constantly thinking about it. So things like Kelly making a note and reminder on your agenda is a great idea because you can come in with the best of intentions and you, like any of us, not just you, Tammy, we get so focused on the task at hand and so focused on either getting through an agenda or dealing with a time schedule that it's easy to forget to kind of look around. And the thing I'll say about that is it's not just up to one person. You have an entire club that you can use to help intentionally make people feel welcome and included in conversations and decisions. And so it's not just up to you. Okay, I was going to say something and I forgot what it was. So I'll go on. So really what we want to focus on tonight is moving from awareness to action. So awareness is a lot of what we focused on until now. Some of you have already put things into action. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I'm going to brag on Carla. Carla's in my club and we love Carla and she's driving, so she's not going to talk. But we had, I feel like it was the next day or really quickly after one of our workshops, we had a meeting and it was fresh in my mind because we just had the workshop. And Carla, we had a visitor of, I don't remember who it was. And Carla did everything we talked about the night before. And I think she did it naturally. I could be wrong. I don't think she did it because of the workshop. I think she made sure everyone got a chance to talk. She made sure the guests felt welcome. And this was on a Zoom call. So, not even in person. But it was really good for me to see. I feel like Charlotte was on that call. I don't remember what it was, but I remember we talked about it, I think. I could be wrong. It was nice to see it in practice from one of our own members. And that just really stuck with me, Carla, just so you know. So awareness is a start, but it's not
Judi?
enough. Yeah.
So Charlotte said that she thinks that was the guest, Elisa, that you had invited to
Oh,
your
it
club meeting.
was. Thank you, Charlotte. Yes, because I told you, because you asked me if Elisa was there, and I said yes, and Carla was amazing. Okay, thank you. Okay, so our impact again is going to come from action. We always need to be aware. And look, things change too. Societal norms change, cultures change. The look and feel of our clubs can change over time. So we have to always be in this awareness phase, but moving to action is where we're really going to start seeing a big difference. So what we're looking for in terms of our action, we're looking for consistency, consistent behaviors. It can be really welcoming one day, and if the next meeting it's like, oh, that person's not new anymore, and kind of slips our minds a little bit, we can lose people quickly if we don't constantly and consistently kind of focus on the same behaviors that are intended to make people feel welcome. And secondly, being very intentional, especially in our leadership. Those of you that are in leadership roles in your clubs, whether it's on your board, a committee, anything, we're all in leadership positions at some point on our journey through Sir Optimist. So, but being very intentional in that leadership role about how you're including and letting everyone feel a sense of belonging. And then the third thing is really just accountability. One thing I love so much about this Leadership Academy is we have a lot of the same people each year, and we kind of have this group that we've been in it together. And this is a great group to hold each other accountable because you've heard the content, you've had a chance to practice with it. And so we have to hold ourselves and each other accountable. And that's not to call people out and say, you didn't do this right. It just could be just a reminder. Hey, there's a new person here today. Just want you to, remember whatever you can do, or even assign someone to kind of help make sure that person feels welcome. So accountability is the last step toward action. Okay, we're going to talk now about some common gaps. So, I love elephants. This little elephant's not going to quite make it because there is a gap here that's a little too big for him. So what are some common gaps when we're talking about kind of instilling a culture of inclusiveness in our clubs? I'm going to say a few things and maybe they'll resonate with you. So things like, well, we talked about it, but we didn't actually change anything. So maybe we talked about rotating committee chairs more often. Maybe we talked about kind of pairing people up. So we have like co-chairs maybe that are learning as they go and ready to take it over the next year. There's several things we've talked about, things we can do to improve, but we need to actually do those things. So talking about them is one thing. If we don't actually change anything, we're not going to close this gap. The second one is just assuming that everyone feels included. So if you're in a meeting or an event and it seems like everyone's there and talking and having a good time and no one's sitting alone, it might feel like everything's okay. But we don't always know that and we can't assume. So constantly checking in, especially for those members that you don't see as often, that maybe signed up for something and then dropped out or didn't sign up for something. Just looking for those sorts of things so that you're not assuming that everything's okay when maybe someone is really waiting for someone to reach out to them instead of them reaching out to you. And then the third thing is just, we might have a conversation about something or with someone, and we sometimes don't finish it or revisit it. So we're going to have a gap if we talk about it, we initiate a conversation maybe within our club, maybe how we can do things differently. We need to constantly keep having those conversations. It's not a one-time thing. I'm hoping that is getting through. So the idea is to move from intention to habit, and that takes time. I think everyone here has the best of intentions or you wouldn't be here. But to make the things we've been talking about this year a habit so that they come naturally, it's just going to take time and practice, and that's okay. But not focusing on it, not being intentional about it is going to keep us from creating the complete sense of belonging that we're hoping to create. So the last thing I want to just kind of talk before I'm going to come back and we're going to have some more conversation amongst ourselves is just thinking of inclusion on a continuum. So the continuum looks like this. It starts with awareness, then understanding, which is part of our learning, action, and then advocacy, and then leadership. So I think we're hopefully all aware right now, and we've gained an understanding. We want to now move into action, and some of you already are. Then we want to advocate. We want to advocate for, in a perfect world, we can look at all of our clubs and say, we worked really hard on this, and we have this great sense of inclusion and belonging, and no one's left behind, and that sounds really great. And we want to advocate for that everywhere we go. And then building this into our leadership so that it's not, you're here now and you're leaders in your clubs, and 2 or 3 years from now, it's going to be a different group of leaders. So we want to perpetuate and keep the learning and intentional actions around inclusivity going. So that's the continuum. So I want you to think about I'm just going to ask a few questions, and I'm just going to ask you to share and give you a minute to think about it. So think about in your own leadership journey, whether it's in your club, in the region, in other parts of your life, because we're not just talking about seroptimists. Where are you on the continuum? Where are you between awareness, understanding, action, advocacy, leadership? And it's okay if we're all in different places. And also think about where you are and think about where you think your club is. I'm going to go out on a limb and think that most of you might be a little further ahead than the rest of your club simply by your presence here tonight. But I could be wrong. I mean, like I said, there are certainly members that are better at this than others. It comes a little more naturally, and that's great. We love having those members in our clubs. But in your club, if on that continuum you personally feel like you're kind of ready to take action, ready to take your learning and move forward and do something with it, but you feel your club still needs to kind of gain awareness and understanding, then that's important to know. Because we can't expect everyone that's not here or hasn't participated, which is the majority of the members in our region, to just know exactly what you know. So it's up to us to kind of talk about it and spread the word and continue to educate. So anyone want to share where you think your club is right now? Good or bad, we're all friends.
Okay, I will always brag on SI Calaveras. especially right now. We've had a really, and I think this is my second year. I'm coming to the end of my second year of presidency, and I'm much more comfortable. And I have learned so much from here and from talking to different people in our region and all over, really. And I've shared that with the club, but that's not like these ladies have taken hold of it and they are so invested and so excited about learning, and they want to hear like what this person learned from here and what I learned from here, and it's really fun to see the growth in SI Calaveras. And I think Leanna has, I know she's seen it too, and it's just, I'm going to use the word inclusive again. We're all on the same page, and it's really, really fun to see.
That's amazing. I love
Yeah.
it.
It
Amory?
is. And we do try to be positive at every meeting and
Yeah.
try to be inclusive and bring back, if we've gone to different meetings throughout the year and bring back what we've learned and, how do we work this into our club? And I mean, Kelly and I are always open for feedback from the members. And I think they're comfortable, most of them, giving us some feedback. So I think we continue to keep doing that. So
Agreed.
Yeah, that's a great practice. I've worked in organizations where, if the company invests in you to go to training of some sort, they expect you to come back and share what you learned, which I think is a great practice. So I love that you do that. Okay, Amory?
Yes, for Hanford, I think we're in the early stages of action and just kind of getting the some kickback from the implementation part. We've done a good job over these last 2 years of after, all the leadership, um, taking it back to the club, working about a plan. But even still, you can only do so much because that chair is still in charge of actually training a co-chair. So that's what happened this year is some of it worked and some of it didn't. Some people did have pushback, which is hard when you have a very large club for everybody to be on the same page or agree with it. So we are now just action planning a different way to go about it because there's still the majority feels that it still needs to be done and it has to be done. So we're just trying a different route. So instead of allowing that chair to follow instructions this next year, it's kind of like, okay, well, since they didn't, and they're not training a co-chair, then we have to regroup in and just start with a new chair almost forcefully, but in a nice way.
Yeah, thank you. And for those of you, I think Amory shared this before. I know she's shared it with the board, but Hanford is a large club. They're always adding lots of members, but they had a very intentional choice this year to focus on member retention instead of new growth. Because while they were consistently adding new members every year, they were also losing members. And so I think that dovetail really well with what we're talking about is let's not lose sight of who's there because we're so focused on bringing in more people. And then I think that every so often, or maybe even more often than not, that's a really good choice. And I love that they were intentional in making that decision. It just, it didn't just sort of happen. It was something that as a club they decided to focus on. And I hope that that ties into a lot of what we're talking about. So thank you. Anyone else?
I, if I can go ahead and say something, I love the whole membership part of it, which I think is pretty evident in this meeting tonight. Um, I think one of the things that, at least as a president, that I had to be okay with, and I'm not always okay with it because I like to make everybody happy and fix everything, right? But I had to come to the conclusion that guess what? As a president, you can't always fix everything. You can't always be the fixer, and sometimes you have to let go. And sometimes there are members that for whatever reason in their life at the time, it just doesn't fit them. But the good thing is there's still people that are interested and do want to come on board. and see things. And so you're constantly getting, your tank filled up, right? And that's what we want to do. We constantly want to fill the tank up. Plus, I want to give a shout out for, the members that go to other clubs and do other events to see what's going on with the other clubs, because we get filled up by them as well. We get our gas tank filled up by them and their enthusiasm and things that they do. And I'm telling you, it has made a huge difference in my life as far as being just a person, but being a president and working with other presidents. It's just, I think we need to encourage that even more within our region.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was actually thinking about that earlier today, Donna, about how geographically it's easier in some places than other. But how lovely it is that, to come to an event from one club and see members from more than one club often at each other's events, because it does sort of it does a lot of things. It does create new perspectives for those members visiting a different club. There isn't just one way to do things. It also offers a lot of support. I mean, I love the way you all support each other. And that's really, it says a lot, whether it's because you're friends already, like Tammy and Kelly, or whatever other reason you decide to attend another club's event. I think it's important on both sides. Another thing you said, Donna, that I do want to touch on because it's a really important point is members come in different places at different times in their lives, right? Some are in a place where they can go 100% and do everything, and some can't, and that's okay. So when we talk about inclusion and belonging, we're not talking about, we expect to see every member at every event. That's not what we're talking about. We want to fulfill their need and we want them to, also contribute to the club. But that can be tricky, right? Is finding that balance of wanting everyone to participate, but knowing that everyone can't all the time. And it's particularly hard when you have a small club. I know Carla and I can relate to this in our club. We're not very big. We're very spread out geographically. Not all in the city. And for God's sake, Carla's down in Merced now, but whatever. So, it's just, it's hard, and everybody can't do everything all the time, but you need, and that's why the club needs to be realistic about actual resources and what to expect. And it's, finding that you want to push people to participate. You don't want them to not participate because they haven't been asked or they don't feel needed. You want them to not participate because whatever, there's something else going on in their lives, or, they're doing something at some other time somewhere else. I mean, I think that's just important to keep in mind when you mention that, that is absolutely true. Anyone else? We'll talk about where their club is. Charlotte. You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Thank you. Didn't hear that. Thank you, whoever told me. Okay, so, with what Donna was saying about, how cool it is that we support other clubs and their events when we can. It was really cool today. Chris Carroll, she knows that's my favorite post that she posted today. She texted me, "Hey, I put your favorite post up." And I'm like, "Oh, yes." Because it's hard to see what all the other clubs are doing. And it's not every club in our region, but those who get a flyer to Chris, we can see some stuff, right? And so I think that paying attention to our region Facebook page and encouraging our clubs to post their stuff up there. I know Modesto's got their spring fling coming up. I know Calaveras County's got stuff coming up. I know Visalia's got stuff coming up. I know, everybody does, right? But I'm also want you to just be reminded that in the near future, the online club's going to have stuff coming up. And I know Loretta's on here, but we're going to be using Meetup more and encouraging some cool speakers with their club, if their club's willing, we're talking about that a little bit further. But just keep an eye out for that too. Show up on Zoom and support the online club, right? Because we can't come to them physically. You know what I mean? And so it's just something to keep in mind. But I wish I could go to more things, but it's really nice to see what other clubs are doing, and it really does help us get re-energized. Maybe we're having a down year or whatever, or maybe we're an up year and we can encourage someone else. But just showing up and like Donna was saying, it does make a difference.
Ruth?
Yeah, I just wanted to say two things. And one is about what you all have been talking about, going to other clubs events. And one thing that I wanted to say is going to other club events, not only does it show them support for the other club, and we support each other and we meet new people in the district, but it's one that you can just go have fun. You don't have to work the event.
Work.
You don't have to work the event. You can just have fun. And it's, and you don't have to worry about whether, you took the money right, or whether you, whatever it is that you're doing, you don't have to worry about that. So I just wanted to mention that, and it makes it a lot more fun.
That is a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the other thing that I was going to talk about was something that President Tammy did several months ago. And it's a compliment. It really is, because it made me think outside the box. Because I was willing to take over a committee that had basically just one person. It was a committee of one, and it had been a committee of one for a long time. And so we came to a threshold where that committee of one no longer wanted to do it anymore for various reasons. And so I said, well, I'm willing to take it on. And my mind was it was going to be a committee of one still. And President Tammy had a different mindset about it. And my initial reaction was, well, I don't know how that's going to work. But, opening my mind to where she was has really been a good thing, because now other committee, I really didn't think anybody was going to sign up for this committee. It was just like, well, why would they? It's always been done by one. But, from the get-go, I had 4 other members who signed up to be on this committee, and they're all jazzed about it. And they're having fun with it, or they're very engaging about it. And so I just wanted to talk about, sometimes we have to not be so, well, we need to be more open-minded. And I think that's one of the things that has been beneficial to me, because I'm not really in a leadership role other than committee leads. It's been good for me to participate in these leadership seminars, because it gets me to, rethink about things that maybe I have known before, but I haven't really had that strong leadership role. And so I haven't, engaged in it. And it's really good to engage in it all the time, because it's your ability to open your mind, see other people's perspective. And I think more than anything is, that re-listening, or actively listening, that those are the good things that I've taken away from the leadership classes.
Thank you, Ruth. Yeah, you said something really important, which is, I'll get to you in a second, Linda. You never know when someone wants to do something, because we have a tendency to kind of ask the same people over and over again. And we have the tendency to assume nobody's going to want to do this. this, it's prime time for our nominating committees right now, right? And I know a lot of clubs go through like bending someone's arm to, do a job. And I think one of the things that is common is that we just don't ask, and some people are more shy. It's one thing to say, I want to be on a committee. It's another thing to, just boldly say, well, I want to be president. Like some people will do that, and that's great. But somebody might be thinking, well, I'd kind of like to be president, but I'm not going to say it. I want to be asked. Some people want to be asked. And so, yeah, like you think, well, this committee's always been done by one. It can be done by one, but more people want to participate and you gave them the opportunity. So that's wonderful. Linda.
Well, I was just going to say when we're talking about Charlotte's favorite thing of the things being posted that clubs are doing and all, I, in the last month, have gotten 2 or 3 people who have contacted our club about wanting to meet and find out more. And one definitely is joining and asked if we're trying to keep our numbers down. And I said, no. And she goes, oh, I have 3 or 4 friends I'd like to have come too. But it's all because she saw things that people reshared on Facebook. So even if you aren't the person posting it, just sharing it on your personal Facebook over and over, I think really does make a difference. People get interested in what it is that's going on, what the club's doing. I also wanted to say, Amory, the black shirt is awesome. I got
wearing
mine.
My shirt. Wait, Amory, I'm wearing my shirt. Okay, some people saw it earlier.
Oh, yay. Is that the long sleeve? Okay.
It fits. It's the long sleeve one.
Yeah, that's the one I got
underneath, but I don't know. But it's
a great
really
fit
nice. It's
too.
really comfortable. It looks cool. It's got a big gold shark on it.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to see everybody in their shirts at conference.
Yeah.
Somebody in our club got the short sleeve, and she actually got something written.
I did too.
Yeah, and she really likes it.
Yeah, really I get to see who's decorated theirs.
Yeah,
on it. It's fun.
I thought about it. I decided not to.
Well, I did the long sleeve. I didn't do anything on it, but the polo, I thought, oh, what the heck? I just put my name, Charlie and S.I. Modesto.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, nice.
Charlotte. Oh, wait, what does yours say, Charlotte?
We can't read it. What does it say?
Oh.
I was telling Amory as well. I'm very happy. I'm gonna make a post because we need to really encourage everybody to get on the call and make sure they see this. I put Seroptimus Investing in Dreams because I figure I'll wear my name tag. You know what I mean?
This is smart.
I'll have my name tag on. So this side doesn't say Seroptimus. So, but whatever. The cool thing is we can say whatever we want. Past Governor Charlie might put some little lightsabers on there.
No, I just got Charlie. Yes, I'm.
You do you.
You ladies are so extra. Now I want to order another one.
Everyone needs a shirt.
And this one is.
When you all graduate, you're going to be wearing your shirts.
Is it too late to order this? I forgot.
No. Okay, so Amory's here. So let's divert for 1 second because this is very important, obviously.
I totally forgot, even though Kim reminded me.
So when you order it, I was going to tell Amory about this anyway, and then my shirt arrived. When you order it, it says will be delivered May 13th or something.
Yeah.
And so I know some people were hesitant to order and thought, I'll just buy it at conference, which is not the plan. So rest assured, and Amory can answer this for sure. You can still order it and you will get it in time, but you can tell us how long to expect.
So the website has a little note that if you order your polo, your item before the 24th, then we can guarantee shipping it out to you. If you order it after the 24th, we can still do it. I just have to bring them with me and you'll get them and pick them up at the conference on Friday.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Amory.
Make a note, Leanna.
And then the idea is to wear, I'm I'm sorry, Governor Judy. The idea is to wear these on Friday. I mean, Sunday, right?
Sunday. You can wear whenever you
Yeah,
want,
that's
but
so fun.
mostly Sunday.
Well, right, but
So
if
it'd be
you can
really
get the
cool
shirt, that's
if
fun.
everyone graduating is wearing the shirt. Okay.
Right?
Okay, diverted, but that was important. Okay, so thanks for sharing, everyone. Gonna do kind of one more just group discussion. And again, this is a bit of a recap, but it's a good time to remind ourselves of some things. And we talked about this early on, but let's just talk again now that we're smarter than we were back in September. What is, or what are one or two you think of the most common barriers to inclusion in our clubs? Charlie? Sorry,
All
my
of our
dog is bothering me.
acronyms, all of the acronyms. Be
Acronyms,
very
yeah.
cognizant of, especially if you have new people in the room or not so seasoned people, explain what you're talking about. You get it. Or have people, we have a pretty good routine in our club where somebody's kind of scanning the room, seeing if somebody's kind of got that blank look, and then we
Yep.
kind of backtrack and, explain what we're talking about. Even when we have guests.
Yep,
We'll
that's a
do
good
that.
one. That's a good one. Donna?
Sorry. I think one of the things, as far as inclusion goes, is when people that have been doing the same thing over and over and again, they keep wanting to do it, which is good. But then it makes people who might want to do it, like you had said, sit back and not speak up. And I just think that we need to be more open to give people a chance.
Whose club is guilty of that? Probably pretty much all of us. Yep, thanks. Anyone else? What about things like, oh, go ahead, Charlotte.
I'm sorry, just real quick. I so agree with that. I mean, I even have notes from one of your classes. I mean, and going back to I do think it's so important to not have the same people doing the same leadership role over and over. 100%. That's a setup for failure. And so how do you fix that? You ask people, you identify, and you look, and you honestly hope. I mean, I don't know. I'm one of those people that believes everybody has leadership qualities and everybody has room to grow and give their talents and gifts. Not everybody believes that everybody should be a president, but I personally believe everybody has that opportunity and can be and should be. And so, but not everybody agrees with that, and that's fine. But at least reach out and ask, do the asking. Everyone loves to be asked and invited to the table, right? So if especially somebody that's a little more quiet, I mean, you're going to have people that are going to come to you and say, hey, I'll do that job. But you're going to have a lot of people out there that aren't going to do that. And if you just say, oh, well, no one wants to do it, I'm just going to keep doing it. And okay, well, I'm going to do it again this year. And you're going to burn out. And it's not good. So ask someone to do it and hope, and if they might turn you down, maybe it's a rejection issue. Maybe you don't want to be rejected. I don't know. But
That was
I think,
last year.
that's
we talked about fear of failure or fear of being told no.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
but you're right. And it's really common, like it's not uncommon for the same person to ask to do the same thing over and over, right? Or even the same people just to move into a different role. And that's okay. But at the same time, every time we repeat in the leadership role, we're denying someone else that opportunity too. So, a strong club, a strong region is going to be one that has lots of people capable of doing it because they have. And yeah, so it can be, if you're in the position of making that decision, if you're a president or in whatever role, and someone says, well, I want to do that again, you're kind of in a position of having to say thank you, but maybe let's have someone else do it, or someone else is interested. But you need to know, like you need to be armed and know if other people are interested in something, so you can handle that discussion when the time comes. So that's good. Thank you. What other barriers? How about things like as basic as when and where we meet?
Yeah.
I know that's an issue in some clubs. I think a couple years ago, we talked at some point just about how hard it is just to move a meeting, like to switch from noon to 6 p.m. or to switch from a Tuesday to a Wednesday, or to, heaven forbid, alternate it so you can have more people included. Like it's tough. It's but that can be a barrier for sure. Anyone else think of another barrier? Okay, next question. And I've asked this before, I'm going to ask it again. What is one action that you can take, you or your club can take in the next 3 months? So between now and the end of the year, and then we're moving forward into a new club year. So between now and then, what's one discrete, concrete thing that you think your club can do differently? Unless you're perfect, like Calaveras County. Linda?
I think for our club, the program meetings have kind of fallen off, haven't, been as regular, and we don't have as good a turnout for them because we don't have the same meeting place available. So being creative, and I'd certainly, that might be something that would be really positive for other clubs to share how they do their program meetings. And who they have at them and that kind of thing. So we don't usually, whoops, sorry, Coco's protecting me. We usually have one when we're doing a fundraiser that month or something, but the others, there are only 2 or 3 months that we're, I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna pause now because my dog's barking. Sorry.
Yeah, that can be really difficult for especially clubs that only meet once a month. Trying to get a program meeting in as well as your business meeting and other stuff. I know that's a challenge for us. We only meet once a month, so we'll usually have components of both. Kelly?
Well, I know we're perfect and all,
But
but we are getting ready to face a big challenge because our club has grown so much this year, and our meetings, we only meet once a month, which is great because we're so spread out up here. But we're finding ourselves, we used to be from like 6 and we were always done by 7:30 at the latest. And the last couple meetings have been 8 o'clock. Nobody's complaining, but I feel like that's something that's going to need to be addressed at the beginning of next year, because we either have to have an extra meeting or we have to change the time. It's like something's got to give, and I have no idea how to address that. So luckily Leanna's coming in as president, so she can address it.
Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. I'm here for you, Leanna.
Thanks.
we're all
So,
here
but
for
here's
you.
what, you have all of this. Everybody's here for you, Leanna.
We're all here for you.
Just meet a little earlier, I think. We can do it.
We
And
can.
the program meetings are usually at, we'll do a round table, the committee meetings for the different events that we have. That's been easy. It doesn't cost anything. People can get a bite to eat. And we also have signups for these different programs. So we'll do chair and co-chair and then some volunteers, and then we pass those sheets around, and that seems to work fairly well. And then Kelly and I are like, okay, we're not going to be in charge of this committee, but we are here to help you. We have notes, we have a binder, You're not going to be left on your own. We'll go to meetings, but we just aren't going to be in charge, which I feel like it's worked pretty good this year. So yeah,
We're both control freaks, you guys. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
know it's really hard.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay, we're getting close on time. So I'm going to leave you with this. I always have tried to end each session with the time for personal reflection and ask you to write something down. So when you write something down, often it's easier to remember and hold yourself accountable. So it's one little step you can take. So I'm going to ask you to write down a few things. I'll give you a few minutes to do this. And you don't need to share. This is really just for you. Number one, what is just one thing that you will start doing that you're not doing now along these lines of kind of remember, we talk about inclusion and this has sort of evolved into that, but remember we talked about empower, embrace, and evolve. So empower is giving power to other people, embracing is welcoming everyone in, and evolving is our own personal growth. So one thing you'll start doing that you're not doing now, one thing you'll stop doing that you are doing now that is a bad habit, and one thing that you're doing that you think you're doing well that you will continue to do. We'll just give you a couple minutes for that. And if you've already shared along these lines, you can write down what you've already shared. You don't have to come up with something new.
Kevin or Judy, can you just repeat that one more time?
Yep. One thing you'll start doing, one thing you'll stop doing, and one thing you'll continue doing. Okay, and you can continue to work on that later. So let me just ask this. How do we know when we're doing well? How do we know when we're doing things right? How do we know when we've made progress on this front? How do we know? What does it look like? So if we could just, someone wants to share kind of, you can dream and be a visionary. And let's say you get this all nailed down and perfect. What does that look like in terms of a club experience relative to what your club experience is like now? Go ahead, Linda.
Well, I think one thing is that members become more enthusiastic about being involved in more things, just, coming to extra meetings, or we've tried to do just ways to get together socially and more people joining that and wanting to be involved in things. And it's kind of word of mouth. Members will share with other members. An example is we have gotten more and more people involved with our Dream It Be It. I think we had over 20 of our members directly involved the day of our Dream It Be It, which was great.
Okay. How about, last year we focused a lot on, we talked a lot about courage, and we talked about really kind of tackling a toxic environment when that arises, which is often. if we put into practice kind of our awareness and understanding of everyone comes from a different background and perspective, if we address that appropriately and better, do you think that will make a difference in our ability to get along with each other and not use our time together to fight? It's not going to solve everything, but I think it'll make a difference. Okay. So as we wrap up, just remember, we're always going to make progress. We're not really seeking perfection. Kelly, glad to know you're not quite there.
Well, it's true.
And we joke about that, but like there's always room, and you're always, every time you have a new member or your dynamic changes, you lose a member, you have new people in different roles, it's a constant. It's never going to feel the same ever.
I hope everybody knows that I am joking when I'm just being me, just
we
being
do.
fun. Yeah, okay, good.
We do.
At the same time, we are perfect. I'm just saying.
It's good that you feel that way, because many of us don't. And all joking aside, the fact that you can even joke about, you do have a very strong club and it's evident. And I think that says a lot. And I think other clubs should be looking to what you're doing well. And, there are many clubs in that situation, and there are many clubs that are struggling with one thing or another. And that's okay. We're all going to go through those cycles, and it is okay to learn from each other. So the fact that you feel, even if you're joking, the fact that you feel that way is really, really positive. So don't joke too much about it.
No, you know why, Judi? Honestly, it's because I know that I can depend on all of these other clubs. Our club knows that we can depend on the entire region. That's all it is.
That says a lot. So, thank you, Charlotte. It is empowering. Speaking of empowerment, we're all about empowering women and girls, right? That's what we do. That is our mission. But that includes how we treat each other and how we show up for each other and how we support each other. We're going to support the women and girls in our communities so much better when we're supporting and fighting for each other at the same time. Does everyone agree?
Yep.
Good. I'm going to end with that. I'm going to stop the recording, but we can continue to talk if you'd like.
Can I ask a question?